everybody, it's Kelly and I have a two-page Tuesday layout for you today. I haven't done one of these in a while. So these are pictures of Independence Hall from my visit to Philadelphia, and I have 9 photos here. So I decided to do 2 pages just so I could get the interior views of Independence Hall and then the outside view of it, and then a couple of views of the towers on both sides of the hall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of these photos on this neutral pattern paper, and that came from the Die Cuts with a View Nantucket stack, which is quite a few years old here. I don't remember exactly how old, but probably more than 2. I didn't have a lot of red, white, and blue pattern paper, and I often have occasions where I need that. Living in the United States, we use those colors a lot. This is a great example of why you might want to use them, even though there's not red, you know, the red, white, and blue typical colors in these photos. It makes sense to use it. So anyway, that's why I got that stack, and it has a very distressed look, which I don't do a lot of really super distressed papers anymore. I used to use a lot of basic gray and that kind of thing. I think that look was more popular when I first started scrapbooking. Not that there's anything wrong if you like things really distressed, go for it. I think everybody should scrapbook what they want. I remember when I first saw Bella Boulevard, I just thought, ooh, that's really white and it's so clean, and now that's what I tend to use. I love that line. So just how you can change. But in this particular case, I think this look to this paper is great because this is a much older building. So I could put this on something more modern looking, but I think that this really works well. So I have chosen to use not white per se, but that distressed creamy color. And then I'm going to cut a couple of pieces of this navy and white plaid paper, and that will go behind the photos, and then that's all going to be mounted on that red pattern paper there. And so there's my red, white, and blue. So traditional colors in maybe not as traditional a way. Now the one thing here, I wish that I had cut this particular piece a little bit wider. I wanted a little bit more of a reveal at the top. I wanted the reveal at the top and the bottom to be the same on the right hand side, which it ends up not being because I don't have enough room to do that. I cut it, I had intended to leave more, and I cut it a little bit more than I wanted to. So I'll decide how much I'm going to cut the one on the left. And you guys, I have my camera in really close. I'll have to remember this when I do two-page Tuesdays to back it up to raise it so you can see more of it, just because I have it so close in now. But I think you're getting a pretty good view of what I'm doing. And what I'm doing here is trying to decide on a 3x4 card. So I'm trying all of my cards from Ellie's Studio, and I have that kind of crimson-y card right there, and I like it because the background paper is not a bright red. I try this star 3x4 card for a while, but the red is so bright. It's not, there's a little bit of a berry color in the background of that red paper, so I decided to go with that one. And that, I don't know where that came from. I have my cards basically just in a basket, and I sort it by color and I just go through them. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm going through and I'm kind of looking at what you know, how I'm going to lay that paper. First though, I do want to ink all the edges of this, and I've got a little bit of the plastic from the pad there on the bottom of that. That's what I was doing. So I'm using the Tim Holtz Vintage Photo ink here. And even though they're all from the same manufacturer and even the same paper pad, so they all have kind of the same shabby chic distressed look, they're not have a color in common. Like when I do a lot of these 2-page layouts, I pick one paper with a lot or most of the colors in common or something in common. I don't have that with this because it's red, white, and blue. And you know, that's something that, at least in the United States, that we typically think of those colors going together without any extra help. So I don't have to have something that pulls them all together because we just naturally do that in our heads in the United States. So, but because of that, what I'm going to do, because I don't have that common paper, I'm going to actually just use the ink to do that. All right, so now I'm kind of looking at how I want these photos to go, and I'm justifying them to the bottom row there to the center edges. So they kind of look like they have something in common. And just kind of thinking about how I want those to go there. And I know I want the photos to touch that cream colored paper as well. And the reason I want them to do that is so they don't look so separated. It helps your eye read them together. So I was showing you there that I really wanted the spacing to be the same, but it's not going to work out that way. I needed to leave just a little bit more on that right edge, and that's fine. I'm going to be the only one who ever notices that. And then I'll just leave a little bit of space here. So the photos, these photos aren't going to have an additional mat. None, you know, they have the, you know, the pattern paper behind it, but I'm not necessarily matting photos together. And I store my my layouts in D-ring albums, so there always is a separation between the two of them, between the two layouts. Now, if you don't like that and you store them in D-ring albums, you can sew your page protectors together as well, and that will help, or staple them. That will help them stay together without that bigger gutter in the middle. But it really doesn't bother me, so I leave them. I also don't scrap in chronological order. I mean, eventually I finish a year. I'm working on 2018 right now. Everything else is done. Well, at least everything else newer is done. How about that? So then I do know that I want to mat one photo, and that's this photo of Independence Hall from the outside. And it's because I want that one to have a little bit more of a special attention, because that's the building. This is what we came to see. These are just the photos of details of it, you know, the inside and that kind of thing. So that's why I decided to give this one a mat and nothing else. Now, the vintage photo ink is also going to really help with that card, because that card is really white and it's pretty modern compared to everything else on this page. So that's really going to help pull all of this together, even though it's different than everything else. Now there's white in the plaid paper too, so that's okay. And there's white, it's a creamier white in that beigey colored paper too. But I think that will work really well. And I like the way that looks. Now I'm just pulling out some stickers that I have here, and I'm just kind of showing you I've got some foam things, so those will be sitting to my left, and I'll decide what to do, and I'm hoping you're gonna see this. I didn't think about this when I was doing it. So now I'm just selecting like some word strips and those kinds of things, and those word stickers and this banner. I love this banner. I'm so excited. I haven't used this sticker sheet yet. It is the Simple Stories Hometown USA 6x12 cardstock stickers, which was a 4th of July collection from 2018. And this is the first time I'm using it, just because I bought it at my local scrapbook store a couple months ago, because I knew I had these papers and I knew I didn't have a lot of embellishments. And this collection has a more vintage feel to it. So I was really excited when I saw this. But first time I'm using it, I'm using the banner, yay, which is normally my kryptonite. So, and I'm sorry guys, but you can't see that. I did take really detailed, this is funny, detailed shots here. So sorry about that. I was not thinking about the fact that you might not be able to see the bottom of this. Like I said, the next time I do a 2-page layout, I will pull these up. Most of the action is going to go on above. It's a word sticker with right now just the gold star that's at the top, and then I'm going to do 2 on the banner as well. And those gold stars are from Horizon Company. It's the glitter foam stars, and I got them at Walmart, like in their craft area. I was just walking by one day and I saw red, white, and blue stars. I'm like, oh, and then they had red, white, and blue, and then they had gold as well. And I just thought, oh, this is kind of a nice thing, and they all came in the same pack, that would work really well together. And I like how the gold just is a little bit of an accent here. It doesn't take over, but it's a little brightness, because otherwise I think this could feel really heavy. And what I'm doing here is I'm adding some of the star stickers to each of the clusters that I made with the word strips, and I'm adding those star stickers to each of them, basically. That's what I'm doing. And then I did put, everything else is the smaller star, but I did put one large star up in the journaling card area there, just because I thought, you know, that's where the words are going about what this is about, what it meant to me, those kinds of things. And overall, really, even though I was an interior design major and I studied a lot of architecture, Independence Hall was so much smaller on the inside than I expected it to be. And I just think, you know, you think of it as such an important building, which it is. It really is the birthplace of the United States there. Or of America's birthplace, but you expect it to be so big, and it's really not. The rooms are actually pretty small. So that was one of the biggest things that struck me, other than the fact that I was standing in a place that Thomas Jefferson did and Ben Franklin did, and lots of other really important people. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so next I'm going to get my title down, because really basically everything else is done. And now you can see the bottom cluster. So now I'm just going to line my letters up here using my wax paper, and I'm using my wax paper instead of my Thickers guides, because I don't want to take a chance with those that the letters would stick to the photos. And I'm not quite sure exactly how and where for sure yet that the title's going. I'm thinking it's going to go on top, but I'm not positive. So these are it's a gold glitter foam alpha from American Crafts Thickers, and it's the Basics collection, and it's the honeycomb color. Now, I love this alphabet, but it's really hard to use because it's way, way yellower than most gold embellishments are now. So the good thing is that those stars are very yellow as well, and I think that's why they hadn't been used. Like, I hadn't used very many of them, as they don't really go very well with a lot of the gold. But these two things go together really well. So I was very excited about that. And I think it doesn't look out of place, but if you put either one of them on a layout with just a lot of the regular gold that we see now, it would look out of place. So I'm just kind of figuring out how I want this to go, and I'm going to get the America's Justified almost all the way to the center gutter, and then I'll back the Birthplace off just a little bit, because that'll give the proper space between the two. And like I said, I do store these in 3x4 cards, so they won't be on top of each other anyway, but you know, I just kind of want to make sure it looks okay. So I'm just playing here and putting them together. This layout, actually, for a 2-page layout, was pretty fast. It came together, including all my paper choices and everything, in 39 minutes. It was only 29 minutes for me to actually construct it once I had my paper choices made. And that sometimes is the more time-consuming piece anyway. And somehow I lost that. When you look at the photographs, I somehow lost that, the dot above the I. But I did realize it, and then it's back on now, but you won't see it in the photographs, so you don't have to warn me about that. All right, guys, there's the still shot and a whole bunch of detail shots coming up. Hope you guys are well, and I will be back with another layout again soon. Bye.